So remember, the rule is I before E except after C. And sometimes not that. Sorry, when else is it not I before E? Just sometimes, like after C. Yeah, sometimes after C or after a different letter. If it's like in a word that's spelled EI, then in that word, it's not. Well, is it I before E most of the time? I don't even know. I think it's probably I before E at least half the time. So then why are we teaching this rule to people? I think it's just kind of fun to say the rhyme, you know? And we don't really have a good rhyme for E before I. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's a good enough reason. E before I, unless that's a lie, that's fun. So every single one of you who made this comment on my latest post, and there were a lot of you, there were just so many of you, just so many of you who made this comment. I hate to break it to you, and when I say I hate to break it to you, I kind of mean that I love to break it to you, but you all belong on the subreddit Confidently Incorrect. And I love when people are confidently incorrect, especially in my comment section. It gives me great joy to behold. Because I'm on to you. I'm on to all of you out there. I know that you follow this account and that you generally like the stuff that I make, but I also know that there's a part of you that like secretly kind of thinks that I'm an arrogant know-it-all. You're kind of like, I don't like how much that smarmy internet mustache guy thinks that he's right about everything. And you're always sort of on the lookout for an opportunity to catch me slipping, to catch me making a mistake, to catch me in error on something. And I know how excited you get when you think that you caught me. So I get equally excited when a bunch of you think that you caught me slipping on something and you're actually just way wrong. So I made a video about that bad rhyme that a lot of people who were brought up in the American education system were taught, you know, I before E except after C, and how it's just a bad rhyme that we teach to kids and we should not teach to kids because it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't work even. It works for like the word receive. I think that's like the only word that I can think of where it works. Maybe there's more, but that's the one that comes to mind. Like what about the word chief? That's an I and an E that's after a C. I know that there's an H between the C and the IE, but the rhyme doesn't say anything about that. It doesn't say like I before E except after C, or unless there's an H in the way. It just says if it comes after a C, then it should be EI. So what's with that word? Anyway, I was making this video about that bad rhyme and about how the American education system is just failing kids at these spelling lessons, and we just keep doing it. We just keep repeating these rhymes even though they make no sense. And a bunch of you in the comments were like, well, that's because the full rhyme is or when sounding like A as in neighbor or way. But yeah, no, the American education system just failed you. You were really confident about it. Like, no, my teacher taught me the right way. No, your teacher did not teach you jack shit. Your teacher did not set you up for success. Your teacher just set you up to come into my comment section many years later and make a fool of yourself. Because yeah, there are words that are spelled EI that make the A sound that work as exceptions to the I before E except after C rhyme, but there are also so many other words that are spelled EI that don't make the A sound and also don't come after a C. So what of those words? This person's teacher said I before E except after C, or if it's a weird word. Get it? Because the word weird doesn't make the A sound and is also spelled. And a lot of people made that comment that their teacher taught them about the weird words that are exceptions to both rhymes, as though that should suffice. That was their teacher doing the job right. Like this person's teacher said I before E except after C unless followed by G. And I guess, you know, like E for effort to this person's teacher. They were trying. Like they were trying to find a way to make it all
fit and make it all work, but like, what the hell are you talking about? Unless followed by G. There's so many words that are spelled EI, not after a C, that are not followed by a G. And there are just so many words spelled EI that don't make the A sound. So all these words are just weird words. What's interesting to me is how people are like really fighting to hang on to this rule. Like they don't want to let it go. They're like, no, my teacher didn't teach me the wrong thing. There's more to the rhyme, and that's why it makes sense. And the teachers are all sort of desperately clinging to it as well. Like it seems like a lot of teachers are aware that the rhymes are bad and don't make a lot of sense, but they just keep teaching the rhymes anyway, and they're trying to find a way to teach the rhymes where it can all fit. This person says, learning this rule at age 8 in Raleigh, which rhymes with Wally, this rule is when I started questioning everything. Meaning this person's teacher was trying to impose this rule, I before E except after C, or when sounding like A as a neighbor and way, in a town that was spelled in a way that neither of those rhymes worked for. This person says, I was shown a video in school explaining the sometimes rule, and it had 5 solid minutes of examples. And like, I guess I could give that person's teacher credit for maybe getting the closest to getting it right. But this means that that person's teacher was still like, hey, listen, the rule is I before E except after C, or when sounding like A is a neighbor and way, unless it's any of these other words that are not that. At which point it's just like, so why are you still teaching the rhyme? Because the rhyme is just, it's this unless it's not. And it's not like it's this 98% of the time. It's like, it's just this sometimes, and sometimes it isn't this. And I don't know why. I don't know why we're so bought in on these rhymes. There doesn't seem to be any reason or rhyme to it. So here's the rule. Parents, teachers, this is what you teach to your kids about spelling words with I and E in them. Is we have words that are spelled IE, we have words that are spelled EI, and you just have to figure out which ones are which ones and just memorize them. And that's the rule. That's it. That's the whole rule. And I'm right and you're wrong.
That was one of the stupidest things that I've ever seen anybody post on the internet before. Congratulations.